still in high school. I'm 17. I had a bit of a difficult situation at home. I remember actually one instance when I was just moving out to move into the ashram at Bhakti Lounge. Two senior Vaishnavis were trying to help me in my game plan to talk to my parents, and they were like, "Is there anyone in your home you can trust, for sure?" And I actually really had to think about it. The answer ended up being the drug addict in my basement that lived in my basement. That was my source of trust. That was my sense of security in the home. So it was not very protected. When I started coming, and immediately I got personal association from devotees, hey, we should read together, hey, we should chant together, do all these things. I'll show you how you can be Krishna conscious.
They answered my questions, dealt with my anarthas, gave me personal care, personalized service, steady devotee association, steady service roster, association of pure devotees. I actually had a Bhagavad Gita as it is, and I'd met devotees before, and I'd experienced kirtan, all of which were having an effect on me, but I don't think that I would have been able to get over my doubts without having my questions answered by the association of devotees who had taken seriously Srila Prabhupada's instructions and were living it, and being able to see them in different contexts, not just at formal programs, but...
This is an education center for adults or young people who already think that they're educated. And I really required a new education. With the other ladies that I live with in the ashram here, we are able to actually sustain ourselves consistently and steadily in our progress and advancement, and I find that very rare and very important.
I remember when I first came to Bhakti Lounge, I was so quickly engaged in distributing Prabhupada's books, but that wouldn't have been the same if I was in a center that wasn't so personal, that gave a lot of attention to particular devotees, because I know people need a lot of attention, especially in the beginning stages of Krishna consciousness. So therefore, the Bhakti Lounge made it a lot easier for me to be able to engage and relate with devotees and people around me than to be in a center that was overwhelmed by a big crowd of people and be lost in the mix. So I do owe a lot to Bhakti Lounge and to devotees there for sure. That these centers are helpful to a lot of people just like myself. It seems that when there's a big crowd of people, one particular person will easily get lost and not get the attention that they need. But in a group like Bhakti Lounge, or in a center such as Bhakti Lounge, it makes it easier for people to get the attention they need and not be lost in a big crowd of people. That's an aspect that's very much helpful for my spiritual consciousness.
At that moment, I was renting a small room in the basement. I was about 20 years old, and I didn't have any sense of what I want to do in my life. All my relationships just didn't work. I was basically felt completely lost. I didn't know how to cook, and I remember I was making this big pot of barley mixed with beans with no even single spice in it. All these people, they're so how do you call it, clean, sincere, and genuine persons. So I just felt like I really want to be around them, and I really want to know what's their secret, because I want to be just like them. And yeah, and since then I started to live in the ashram with amazing people, amazing devotees. I started to learn how to cook.
So this is what I saw in the devotees, is that they were there to care for me. I can feel that. They cared for me. They were strict. And so that was what I needed too. So they weren't there just to make me feel good and tell me it's going to be okay. But you need that encouragement too. They were there to give me guidance.
I was really concerned about being cool and sort of about my image, and things like that. So one thing that really helped was coming to Bhakti Lounge and seeing a lot of youth or young people involved, and just a room full of
people who I thought were interesting, cool people, and they were taking up a spiritual path, and so I thought that I could do that too. As much as I wanted to think that I was like a great individual type of person, I was definitely wouldn't have been able to handle being in a place where I couldn't relate to people, where I felt like I was the only one doing something. I wouldn't have had the inner strength of character to do that. And also, in general, at the time, before I found Krishna consciousness, when I study myself now, looking back at what I was like then, I can see that I was definitely a pretty dysfunctional human being. I couldn't really even do normal things, like take care of myself, or have a job, or have steady friendships with people.